couldn't believe how little time it took for the paparazzi to find Misha. We had to start walking before more turned up.
So, see, it's just they can't be taking flattering shots with those cameras, can they now? Here comes another one.
What's your reality show about, Misha?
It's creepy, isn't it?
I saw one video of you one time. I think you might have been coming out of the RV or somewhere on here, and there must have been in excess of 30 paparazzi surrounding you, and you couldn't find your car. I mean, that must be actually quite terrifying.
It happens a lot because they're just so disorientating, aren't they? Like, you're so distracted that you don't end up not going, no, what's going on? I can't even talk. There's the ivy.
Everyone kind of staring. It's very awkward.
So funny.
Very awkward, isn't it? I knew the paparazzi followed Misha closely, but I couldn't believe how little freedom she had in public. She wanted to show me one of the few places in LA where she had some privacy.
Oh, it's amazing here, isn't it? I haven't been here in months.
There are very few stars that get more press attention than Misha, but I just didn't know why she seemed to get singled out so much.
There's always been kind of such a shitstorm of press around me that I just let it be because I can't follow it all and I don't think it's good for me to do that.
Misha also gets a lot of headlines about her seemingly fluctuating weight. I thought now would be a good time to ask her about it. So how do you feel when people speculate about your weight and stuff in the press? Does that hurt?
I think most actors kind of, you know, you get in shape for a role, you're working out, you're in that headspace and you're doing that and everybody's like, oh wow, she looks so great. And then, you know, you take time off and you hang out with your boyfriend, you gain 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever, and everybody's like, oh my God, look, she's gained weight.
And because there were some particular pictures I was looking at still on the internet where, I don't know if you had your wisdom teeth out, it said underneath that you'd blogged about that. And then people assume all of a sudden that you've got alcoholic bloat on your face. But you don't even, but you're tough enough to not then defend yourself about that situation, which I commend, because I would be thinking, well, you're lying about me, and I'd get really upset.
Yeah, it was a really difficult time for me. And I was shocked by the insensitivity of the press and just how, like, you know, newsworthy it really all became.
Do you think it's affected you in a negative way over the years, being exposed to it since you were younger?
No, I think luckily, like, I've not changed. I'm not weird with my friends. I stay pretty much the same over the years. I've got the same good friends and I like to just live my life. I don't try to control it and make everything look perfect. I don't try to do, like, you know, perfect outfits and hair and makeup before I leave the house for the paparazzi. I don't do any of that. I just live my life and then that's that. But odd seemed different. On numerous occasions, she'd made me wait while she spent hours getting ready. I wondered whether the whole Hollywood circus had taken its toll on this 24-year-old girl. Just everybody has an opinion about you, really, don't they, when they read about you? So I think that, you know, you get looked at like people know who you know you. Somebody will come up to you and be like, oh, are you okay? Or like something like that. And you'll just sort of be taken aback and wonder what that's about. I mean, there's so many times when I definitely feel like I'd rather take a step back and not be known and just be anonymous and get to be me and not be followed around and not have people know who I am.
It was nearly the end of my time with Misha. I'd heard how her life had changed so much over the last 9 years, for good and bad. So I wanted to go to the place where the whole journey started. So this is actually where you shot the OC then, not in the OC?
Yeah, no, it was mostly up and down Santa Monica and Malibu, and there was some really nice homes in Malibu that we used and to dub for Orange County.
You had lots of time running around freezing in a bikini?
Yeah, yep. Many a good year doing that here, yes.
And did you ever kind of think, you know what, I've had enough of this, get me inside, I'm over it, or were you just kind of thinking, you know what, this is a great job, this is awesome fun?
Actually, filming the OC was awesome fun, most of it, so no, at the time we were having a good time. I mean, but there were nights when we would film until like 6 in the morning when the sun came up, and then that would be a wrap, and like, you'd be in a bikini or short shorts and like all night long, and they'd just come in with towels and like cover you in between, and like, you know, Marissa did a lot of crying scenes, so there would always be a lot of like crying in a bikini on a, like, you know, lifeguard tower.
Of course. Even though this is where her career really took off, it was also the start of her problems. I was wondering whether she thought that too. Coming up, I find out more about Misha's drink driving conviction.
I was young, but I didn't have a license, and I had no right to be doing it, and so, oh, I don't know, I don't even like to talk about it, to be honest.
I've been hanging out with Mischa Barton in London and here in LA. I've got to see the girl behind all the tabloid scandals, but there's still some things I feel I need to clear up with Misha. So do you think you've shown the real you on this show? Do you think people will kind of get a real flavour of what you're about?
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. I mean, I think we've had a pretty good time. I'm glad that we got to go to London and come here and check this out.
Do you think you've dispelled some myths about yourself?
God, I hope so. I think some people are always going to think things about people before they meet them and have preconceived notions, but like, that's cool, and it's nice to do a show like this and be able to just be me and show you what I do on a daily basis.
Would you kind of hope that after showing yourself in this way and showing what you're really about, people will then go, all right, we'll leave her alone a bit, or it will kind of die down maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, I doubt it. But yeah, I think, no, it's a great opportunity to just, like, you know, have people have a peek inside your life and get to see what goes into being an actor these days.
Misha has had her problems, but one of the most publicised is her drink driving conviction. Misha was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence, possession of marijuana, and driving without a valid licence in December 2007. Misha was convicted for drink driving, but the drugs charges were dropped. I think we've covered so many different subjects, like myth-wise, on this show that you have really kind of opened up to and talked about. Like, we've talked about the press speculation the whole time, you know, life after the OC, people speculating about your weight in the press. I suppose one other is your DUI. Like, what would people have, like, misconceptions about that situation?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even like to talk about it, to be honest. I mean, the thing with that was, it was just like, I was young, and it was a sort of unfortunate situation, like an unfair situation, you know. I was like very little over the limit. I wasn't really driving drunk, but I didn't have a license and I had no right to be doing it, and so that's that, you know.
Yeah, you commented on, obviously, Ryan Seacrest show saying that, you know, you obviously took responsibility for your actions, etc.
Yeah, of course, because I think that's what you should do if you're a young actress under the public eye, because it was really an unfortunate turn of events where a lot of other young people were getting noticed for their misbehavior driving and drinking and just being reckless in Los Angeles. And you know, I didn't have a license coming out from London and New York. I just, it was silly of me. It was like one of those things, it's like a country kid who just drives a car, and I was like a couple beers over the limit maybe, and it was just, you know.
Is it kind of quite a learning curve having to go through something like that in the public eye?
Yeah, I would say so. I think, you know, it was traumatizing in many ways. You know, my parents were furious, and they came to pick me up the next morning, and I think more than anything, embarrassing and silly, and it's just like, well, I try to forget about it. It's like it's growing up, isn't it?
What do you think about, you know, you kind of get lumped with other celebrities who have been through troubles in their past, like Lindsay Lohan or Britney?
Well, I just think obviously, I think it's silly because everybody is different, and, you know, when you say names like that, it just sounds like people I grew up hearing about, you know. It's not, it's, I don't look at my life that way, you know.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to me. You know, I just feel like I am me, and I think that's how most people who know me feel, so.
All that was left was for me to be honest with Misha about what I felt about her. Hanging out with you for the last sort of, you know, few weeks, I've at times felt quite protective over you because I see the chaos that ensues where you know, wherever you go, and I kind of felt worried at times.
It's just funny you say that because, I mean, all my friends say that about me.
Do they?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's funny, yeah, a lot of people do feel very protective over me or worried about me.
Why do you think that is?
Because of my situation, because, you know, when you're that famous and you've got somebody who's slightly creative and sensitive, I think people are like, oh my God, it's a dangerous situation, it's a strange situation, you know? She could either really use that talent and, like, do a lot with it, or she could just, like, you know, be affected by it and something you know, probably pretty awful could happen.
Definitely. It seems like you've got quite an interesting balance as well of, at times, you're, I think, so focused about where you want to head, with quite a rock and roll edge about you as well, that you like to live quite a rock and roll lifestyle.
I mean, I guess a little bit. I mean, it's just because of the way I am in terms of, I don't know, rock and roll in terms of, like, yeah, it sort of is. I just, like, I'm a little bit off about the way I do things, aren't I? I'm just, like, you know, I like to keep it kind of new and, like, interesting and just real.
I've really seen a different you to what I thought you were going to be like.
You know, I'm quite used to people not knowing what I'm really like, and so that's just kind of an everyday experience for me, isn't it? So.
I don't know how you deal with the pressure sometimes. I think I would crumble in the position that you're in, but you cope with it exceedingly well.
Thanks.
What amounts to a dream anymore?
My time with Misha, I actually found quite confusing. In London, I met a really lovely, fun, slightly kooky, but a real sweetheart, and I really enjoyed hanging out with her. Her behaviour can be quite erratic. She's always very late and definitely sort of disappears in the day, and I'm not quite sure where she's gone. I do think she is hounded by the press sometimes unfairly, but I don't think she helps herself by her own actions. I don't know if I truly got to meet the real Misha, but then I didn't really get to spend enough time with her to find out. Misha's obviously such a talented young girl with so much experience behind her. I really hope that she just gets back to doing what she does best, and I wish her all the luck in the world. And I really do look forward to hanging out with her next time.
Next week, Fearne meets Catty Gossip Queen Perez Hilton. Tomorrow night, taking a very left-field look at the week's showbiz news, Fearne will be joining Keith and Holly for Celebrity Juice at 10. But next tonight, George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg star in Three Kings.